Vincenzo'S Go Crypto Investing. Good mid-afternoon on this first day of November. Last month of autumn as we approach the wintertime season in the greater Bloomington metropolitan area in central Illinois, right? In the Great Lakes region, just south of the Great Lakes region in the Midwest. As we approach the snow and the Arctic air with our first Canadian air mass of the day, as we struggled after a morning low of 31 degrees, coldest morning low temperature of the season. We struggled to get up to about 44 with high overcast that is just now starting to break away as the sun sets. Very early this time of the year in Illinois. It's a very early sunset in central Illinois, especially this weekend after we move the clocks back. At 4 o'clock, it's dark already. It's a travesty. But as we look at the coins, we went over the Bitcoin earlier. We'll go and look at the Quant. My favorite Quant. I fucking love the Quant. And look at that. The last time, we haven't talked about it in a while, but we had that head and shoulders topping, scribbly, reverse. Oh yeah, there's my jabroni killer up there. Remember him? He was walking on up. See him? He was walking up, and then we told you we were going to dump. But we had that somewhat of a head and shoulders topping reversal pattern, and it did end up coming pretty close to the targeted move. Now we've squeezed out. Now in Quant, you're either going to break down to that long-standing $161.69 mark, or you're going to pump up a little bit. We just had that to get out of the way. Or you're going to pump up to that $343 mark, major overhead resistance. So that's what we're watching for in Quant right now. As my chart's all messed up, I'm currently not in a position to really make this look beautiful for you because I'm driving. But that's your short and long-term target right here, right? Or your short and your bullish or bearish short-term target with our industry exclusive perching tool and Quant. You can see we had that miniature head and shoulders that we would have to isolate in on the hour time frame to see it. The targeted move was down there and it hit it. And then we've been trading within this sort of descending triangle-ish look. Now we just traded out of it. And if you can pump up, you can come up to this major overhead resistance, $343. But if you break down of this major green support right here that you've been struggling to stay on for essentially the better part of October, this would make sense to break down to start November as we have a big November crash. So we'll keep an eye out on this very closely in the Quant, as we are at a crossroads, literally and figuratively, as the upper resistance is up here. If we pull that out, you got your upper resistance up there, and then a mid-upper resistance at that $339 level. But that would be a phenomenal pump if you could break to the upper end of this range, because that would be a 25.69% pump. And on the breakdown with our industry-exclusive measuring tool from current price, that would be a 48.69% collapse in the Quant. Now in the Celo, we've been calling, and the price has been coming down since that blow-off top way up there, right? And we know this. And then we've been trading up, and we've been waiting in an up and down jagged fashion that this thing's going to eventually, again, this chart's hideous. I haven't talked about this recently, but the volume indicator is way up there, so we're bearish. We're below, or we're above the moving averages still. We're holding on the 50 as support. But I'm suspecting, and I feel like we have a big fall coming down to $3.61. That target's been there. It's been pushed out more into the future ever since we were up there, way up there at our high at $10, $11, right? So from current price, I'm thinking you got a 41.69% flush coming, as this to me seems like major topping out. There's not a lot of buyers. There's not a lot of momentum. There's not a lot of volume. So I think this is it's being exhausted right now. And unfortunately, in the Celo, I feel like in a super simple, straightforward fashion that this price is coming down. But I'll keep an eye on there because they can always break up. But I just feel like that's coming down. The same thing with the XDC. It did come down. You see we had that target over there where we thought it would hit the 200-day moving average at 0.086. It took a few days longer, and we were calling for that when the price was way up there at 0.18. And it has, in fact, come all the way back down to where we thought it would after that phenomenal pump. It came right back to the mean, right? And now we're stuck on there. And if you can't bounce up, now that we've met that target, your next target to the downside, unfortunately, in the XDC would be all the way down here, getting close to the midway point of in between the last line of defense, which this should be orange, right? Last line of defense is orange, and this is red, right? See that? And so that's where I think you would come to that 0.05 level if you can't get any kind of bounce off of this major resistance or support zone down here, right? And on a bounce back, you got major overhead resistance right here off this old double top, right? You just simply get your horizontal ray tool out and you go to this triple top. Actually, there's your major overhead resistance on any kind of pump if you can muster that up. So we'll put a little price target down there for you, right? Put an industry exclusive price target. This would be your major overhead resistance up there on any kind of pump in the XDC as we're being beaten down by the overhead resistance now and supported by the underneath support. And the price is going to, even though it's made a violent move down, it's either going to make a violent jagged move up or another move to the downside. Unfortunately, if you're in this coin, if this can't hold some structure, gain some momentum, and get some volume, unfortunately, I think that might be the price in the short term, and that would fit our November collapse, as a lot of these altcoins have been bleeding as Bitcoin has been pumping, right? But we're keeping an eye on all this for you at Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. And after a quick Matic look, then we're going to wrap it up. And you can see Matic too. We were playing this pattern that we were in, and we got a little bit of an overshoot on the pattern right here. And now we're coming back to back test it. So Matic, we overshot, but I think it's going to do a century minus the overshoot, which, yes, none of us are perfect, is you're going to back test this. And then if you can't hold this, you're going to bounce back into this triangle, right? So that's option one, is you try to back test this and you can't, right? So with our industry exclusive drawing tool, you're going to come back down, straddle this, and then come back into this triangle, right? That's option one. Option two is similar to option one, except you hold support and then you kick up for another leg of the bull run, right? Or another leg of this bull move in this particular coin, as you would catch some support and then launch up and continue higher, right? Those are your two choices in the Matic right now. I actually like option one and not the latter. I actually think you're coming back down to your major support box that we've had down there, and you can see we've hit that major support once, twice, and I'm forecasting it to come very close back down there again to the bottom part of this triangle as the price action has now moved on into the future. So we will move this over into the future, right? Get rid of this stupid box right here. I don't even know why that's there. Oops. No, this box. Let's get rid of that fucking box. See that? So there's your major support. And then there's your targeted move way down in the shithouse on a breakdown out of this. We're going to keep everything up to date and on top of it all at Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. And welcome to all my new members and future members of Jabroni Killer. And always check out VGCInews.com. I've been busy, so I haven't been on there as much. But it is a fluent building website. So we'll keep you updated. Peace and love.